The galaxy had always feared one name more than anything else, the Varkith. For thousands of years, they were known as the deadliest species in the stars. Every world they touched fell in flames. Every empire that stood against them was erased from maps, histories, and memories. They were not just warriors, they were destruction given shape. Their armor was thick like mountains, their claws sharp like blades, and their ships massive like drifting metal continents. No one challenged them. No one dared. And no one survived long enough to warn others. But everything changed the day the Varkith discovered a small blue planet at the edge of a quiet solar system. The planet was different. It was loud, full of signals, full of music, noise, laughter, arguments, celebrations. To the Varkith, the constant human broadcasts looked foolish, soft, weak. The Varkith scouts gathered in their dark command chamber and watched Earth's transmissions on giant screens. They saw people dancing, cooking, joking, falling in love, playing games, celebrating birthdays. To them, it looked like a planet without discipline, a planet without warriors. "Easy prey," the scout captain growled. The decision to attack came quickly. The Varkith wanted a fast victory. They wanted to show their strength once again. They wanted to remind the galaxy why everyone feared their name. But as their invasion fleet approached Earth, something strange happened. The Varkith admiral expected fear, panic, surrender. Instead, they saw something different. Human ships launched into space far quicker than expected. They were small and old, yes, but they moved like they were alive, with pilots who refused to back down. Even when outnumbered, the humans did not turn away. Even when their ships were hit, they stayed in the fight. The first battle lasted only minutes, but it changed everything. A small human fighter, badly damaged, burning from every side, still managed to shoot down a Varkith cruiser twice its size. The Varkith had never seen a species that fought so hard even when losing. Inside the human ship, the pilot said only one thing: "I'm not going anywhere." The Varkith command ship watched the recording again and again. "What is wrong with this species?" one of the warlords demanded. But humans did not stop. More fighters arrived. More ships lifted from Earth. Civilians helped soldiers. Engineers worked day and night to upgrade weapons faster than the Varkith could understand. Every human action carried the same silent message: "We will not surrender." The Varkith could not understand why humans fought so hard. They did not know that humans had a long history of surviving disasters, wars, storms, and impossible odds. They did not know that humans were not built to bow, they were built to adapt. Every threat made them stronger. Every enemy made them smarter as the Varkith fleet approached Earth's orbit. They launched a massive plasma strike, meant to destroy the planet's defenses in one blast. The explosion lit the sky like a second sun. For a moment, it looked like humanity would finally break. But humanity did not break. They pushed back. Earth's fleets formed one bright wall of light, firing everything they had. Ships moved in perfect lines. Pilots refused to leave formation even when flames were hitting their wings. Commanders gave orders with calm voices. Scientists sent new weapon upgrades over secure channels. Civilians delivered energy cells and medical kits to every city, preparing for impact. The Varkith watched in disbelief. How could a young species suddenly grow stronger in minutes? Why were their ships changing so quickly? Why did humans fight like they were protecting something bigger than themselves? Because they were. Humans fought for their families, for their planet, for their future, for each other, and the Varkith felt something they had never felt before. Not anger, not power, not hunger for victory. They felt fear. No species had ever made them feel that. Not once. But these humans, these strange, emotional, fast-learning creatures, were different. They were unpredictable. They were brave. They could turn fear into strength, pain into courage, and loss into a reason to fight harder. When a damaged human ship rammed into a Varkith destroyer to protect a civilian escape craft, the entire galaxy knew something was wrong. The Varkith had made a mistake. A big one. They had awakened a species that did not know how to quit. They had angered a species that became smarter under pressure. They had challenged a species with a strange, unstoppable fire inside their hearts. The Varkith Admiral watched Earth slowly growing larger on their view screen. And for the first time in his life, he felt uncertain. This should have been simple, he growled. Why do they resist so strongly? A small officer beside him spoke carefully. Because, Admiral, they are human. The Admiral bared his teeth. Humans. They look weak. The officer shook his head slowly. Weak is not the correct word. Humans. Adapt. The Admiral paused. Adapt. He had never heard that word spoken with respect before, and yet here it carried weight. It carried power. The Varkith had faced strong species. They had faced smart species. They had faced fast species, but they had never faced a species that could become all of those things. In a single battle, below them, Earth glowed blue and bright, ready for war. The human fleets rearranged again, moving into a formation the Varkith had never seen. Every ship shined with new upgrades, new armor, new weapons built in record time. The humans were learning, changing, improving, and they were doing it in real time. The Varkith Admiral finally understood the truth. The message whispered through his fleet. A warning spreading too late. Never start a war with humans, because humans do not break. Humans rise, and this was only the beginning. Asterisk, the Varkith invasion should have been easy. That was what every warlord believed. Their empire had destroyed planets far bigger than Earth. They had crushed species with stronger weapons, faster ships, and longer histories. But the fight with humans did not follow any known pattern. It broke every rule of war. It confused their most experienced commanders. The Varkith expected fear. They found resistance. They expected surrender. They saw courage. They expected silence. They heard human voices shouting orders, plans, warnings, hope, inside the Varkith flagship. The High Warlord paced back and forth, claws scraping lines into the metallic floor. His eyes burned with frustration, not anger. Varkith did not get angry. They conquered. They crushed. They erased, and now, for the first time in centuries, they struggled. How are humans learning so fast? He growled. No one answered. No one dared. Instead, screens flashed with new human strategies movements so unpredictable even Varkith. Battle computers could not calculate them quickly enough. Human ships darted in and out of formation like sparks from a fire. They used asteroids as shields. They hid behind space debris. They fired in strange patterns that made Varkith targeting systems. Malfunction, it was as if humans were rewriting the rules of war in real time. On Earth's side, the situation was just as chaotic, but in a different way. Human commanders worked without sleep. Engineers modified weapons in minutes. Civilians sent energy cells from homes, offices, and factories. Families gathered in basements but still sent messages of support to the front lines. Humanity was not just fighting. Humanity was moving as one. One of the largest turning points came when a human destroyer called Horizon Blade entered the battlefield. It was old, dented, half-rusted, but it carried a crew of people who had already survived disasters on Earth. They knew loss. They knew fear. But they also knew something stronger, teamwork, as Varkith cruisers advanced. The Horizon Blade's captain studied their movements carefully. His crew expected him to panic, but he only whispered one steady command. Close the distance. The crew stared at him. Close the distance? Against ships bigger than mountains? But humans were humans. They followed their leader. The destroyer charged forward, engines burning hot. Varkith cannons fired, shaking the hull, tearing pieces of metal away. Warning lights flashed red. Inside, sparks fell like fiery rain. But still, the Horizon Blade did not stop. The human captain watched the enemy ships getting larger and larger on the screen. Almost there, he said quietly. The Varkith commander of the nearest cruiser laughed. Stupid humans. But that laughter died quickly, because the Horizon Blade suddenly shifted direction, sliding under the Varkith cruiser like a shark beneath a whale. In one smooth motion, Humans fired a concentrated chain of railgun shots directly into a weak point under the enemy hull. The cruiser shook violently, chorus flashing unstable, then boom. The Varkith cruiser exploded from the inside, scattering fire and debris across space. The galaxy had never seen such a thing. A small, damaged human ship destroying a vessel 5 times bigger. The Varkith warlord slammed a fist into his chair. What are these creatures? He did not know that humanity had always done this on Earth and now in space. Humans had always found ways to turn weakness into strength. They had always created strategies out of nothing but luck and courage. Still, the Varkith refused to retreat. Instead, they sent a second wave. This was no longer a simple invasion. It was a war of pride. Massive Varkith dreadnoughts moved into formation, blocking entire stars with their size. Their armor glowed bright red. Their weapons prepared to fire beams with enough power to break continents. Prepare for total planetary destruction. The Varkith High Warlord ordered. But humanity had already changed the battlefield. On Earth's surface, thousands of scientists worked together. They shared information faster than any species the galaxy had seen. They created a new weaponon, defensive shield network, powered by satellites and ground stations. When the Varkith fired their massive beams, the sky lit up with blinding light, but Earth did not burn. Instead, a giant blue shield shimmered like glass, absorbing the deadly energy. Humans watched in awe. The Varkith watched in horror. Then, at that exact moment, humanity struck back. Dozens of human fleets exploded out of hyperspace above the shield line. Their ships were glowing with new armor and new energy weapons. Even the Varkith felt something heavy inside their chests, feeling their species had no word for it, but humans had a word. Hope. The human counterattack was fast and coordinated. Ships moved in perfect circles. Fighters created spirals of laser fire. Drones overloaded Varkith targeting systems. Missiles hit the weakest points of enemy armor. The Varkith began to fall. Slowly at first, then faster. Then in waves. Across the galaxy, hidden observers from dozens of species watched in silence. No one could believe what they were seeing. A young species, a small planet, limited technology, defeating the strongest predators in the galaxy. Inside the Varkith flagship, the High Warlord stared at the screens. His voice was quiet for the first time. This is not possible. Humans were making it possible. The Warlord turned to his council. Why do they fight like this? The answer came from a small Varkith, strategist who had been studying human history for days. He whispered slowly, "They fight because they refuse to lose." The room fell silent outside. Human ships broke through another Varkith formation. Flames and wreckage drifted in space. The Varkith warlord finally understood something terrible. This was not a simple war. This was a lesson, and the galaxy would soon learn it too. Never challenge humanity, because humans evolve. Asterisk, the Varkith had never imagined this. Their empire had invaded hundreds of planets, crushed thousands of armies, and destroyed every species that resisted them. They believed fear was enough to control the galaxy. They believed their strength was unmatched. They believed no one, absolutely no one, could fight them. But humans continued to break every belief the Varkith held. Inside the Varkith flagship, the High Warlord watched battle reports scroll across screens. One after another, Varkith cruisers were falling. Human fleets were pushing deeper into space, crossing lines that the Varkith swore no one could ever cross. This cannot be real, the Warlord whispered. But it was. Humanity had not just survived the first invasion wave, they had become stronger after it. Human technology was improving faster than the Varkith could track. Weapons that seemed weak yesterday were now stronger than Varkith armor. Human tactics that were predictable last week had changed every few minutes. The Varkith warlord felt something cold growing in his chest. It was a strange emotion, one he had never felt before. He finally recognized it, doubt. Meanwhile, in the human command center, orbiting Earth, Commander Elise Mora studied the Varkith movements with sharp eyes. She was calm, steady, and focused. She had grown up in a small town working on machines with her father. She had never imagined leading Earth's defense one day. But now every decision she made shaped the future of the human race. "Adjust formation," she ordered. "They will strike the left flank first." "How do you know?" an officer asked. Elise gave a small smile. "Because that is what I would do." Humans could predict Varkith attacks, because humans understood something the Varkith had ignored for centuries. Strategy is not fixed. Strategy grows, and humans were very good at growing. The next Varkith assault came like a storm. Thousands of their ships moved together, firing beams that shook space itself. It was the strongest attack the Varkith had launched so far. But humans were ready. Human. Battleships moved aside at the last second, letting the Varkith energy beams pass through empty space. Then fighters from Earth spiraled through the chaos, weaving between explosions and firing precise shots at weak points on enemy hulls. The sky filled with burning colors and shattered metal in the middle of that endless fire. A small human squadron called Iron Talon performed a maneuver the galaxy had never seen. They flipped their fighters at the same moment and launched missiles backward toward the chasing Varkith ships. It confused the enemy sensors completely. 3 Varkith destroyers exploded at once. The High Warlord's eyes widened. What was that? How did they? His voice broke off. He had no explanation. Humans kept inventing new moves like it was natural. On the other side of the battlefield, a young human engineer named Ryan was repairing a ship mid-flight. The engine panels were open, sparks flying out, but he refused to stop. "Just a few more seconds," he shouted. "But we are in the middle of combat." The pilot yelled, "I know," Ryan replied. "That is why I'm working fast." The Varkith had never seen a species take risks like this. A human could be injured, exhausted, or terrified and still push forward. Still keep working. Still keep fighting. Human hearts did not understand limits. When the ship flew again with double strength, the Varkith realized something dangerous. Humans do not break. They rebuild. Back on the flagship, the Varkith warlord stared at the growing list of losses. His commanders argued, shouting over each other, trying to make sense of the chaos. One commander slammed his fist on the table. "They are not fighting like normal species. They fight like they are enjoying this." "No," another commander said slowly. "They fight like they have something to protect." Those words hit the warlord deeper than any weapon. The Varkith had no families, no friends, no homes to defend. They only had power, hierarchy, and hunger for conquest. They did not understand love. They did not understand unity, and now they were paying the price. On Earth, people of all ages sent messages to the front line. Some wrote simple words like "stay strong." Some sang songs that boosted soldier morale. Some stood outside damaged cities helping anyone they could. Even children drew pictures of human ships fighting in space. Every act of support made human soldiers fight harder. Every message added strength to their courage. The Varkith watched footage of humans working together and felt confused. Why fight for each other? Why risk your life for someone you did not know? They could not understand that this was humanity's greatest power. Varkith's strength came from fear. Human strength came from connection. And in war, connection wins. When Earth deployed Project Helios, everything changed again. It was a massive energy weapon built from combined human nations: America, Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, Australia, all working as one. The weapon fired a beam of golden light that cut through the largest Varkith warship like it was made of paper. The galaxy trembled. The Varkith fleets panicked. Humanity pushed forward, across every star system. Varkith commanders sent the same message to their warlord: "We cannot stop them." Humans were proving what no one had believed possible. A small species could rise. A young planet could fight back. A so-called weak species could defeat the strongest hunters in the galaxy. The High Warlord tightened his claws. "This war is not over," he growled. "Bring the entire Empire fleet." But deep down he knew the truth. The war was slipping out of his control, and humanity was just getting started. The Vark Empire had never united its full strength for any war. Not for rebellions. Not for fallen colonies. Not even for rival empires. But the defeat after defeat from the humans pushed them into something they had never done in their entire history. They called every Varkith fleet from every corner of their territory, across the galaxy. Massive ships, disconnected from their orbits, leaving conquered worlds behind. Giant carriers the size of cities rose from black space docks. War beasts cried in metal cages. Dreadnoughts so old they were considered myths powered up again. The Varkathai warlord watched from the bridge as thousands of red war signals flashed on his screen. "This is the full power of our empire," he said in a low voice. "No species has ever survived this." But the confidence in his voice was fake. He could feel it. Every commander could feel it. The fear of humanity had already entered their bones. Still, the Varkith gathered everything, every ship, every weapon, every war machine jumped toward Earth. The galaxy shook as the fleet moved. Stars dimmed behind their shadows. Space cracked with energy trails. Entire systems felt the vibration of their approach. But Earth was ready. Humanity had prepared not just armies, not just fleets, but an entire planet united under one goal: survival. Millions of humans watched the night sky as the Varkith fleet appeared like a red storm covering the stars. For a moment, the world fell silent. Cities, forests, oceans, deserts, everything paused. Then the human commander spoke through every speaker in every city. "We hold the line." And Earth answered with a roar. The Varkith fired first. Their beams rained down like falling suns. Explosions lit the darkness. The shields over Earth trembled but did not break. Then humanity fired back. The first human strike came from the ship Aegis Nova, a massive flagship built by engineers from 10 different nations. Its cannons glowed bright white, hotter than anything seen before. When it fired, the blast cut through 3 Varkith battleships in one shot. The galaxy had never seen a weapon that strong from such a young species. Varkith warriors froze. What is that? How did they build it so fast? But answers never came, because humans did not stop. A second wave of human ships jumped in behind the enemy rear lines. A third wave emerged from Earth's moon. A fourth wave dropped from hidden stations in deep space. Humans had planned for every angle, every path, every weakness. And for the first time, the Varkith Empire faced something they never expected: human coordination. Every squad moved with precision. Every fleet responded instantly. Every pilot trusted the one beside him. The battlefield became a giant chessboard, and humans played it like masters. The Varkith began to fall in clusters. One human maneuver became legendary. The spiral of fire. Hundreds of human fighters formed a rotating spiral and fired in perfect rhythm, creating a tunnel of energy that trapped and destroyed an entire row of Varkith cruisers. No one in the galaxy had ever witnessed such unity in motion. The High Warlord roared. "Push forward! Crush them!" But his voice shook. His claws trembled, because even he could see it. Humans were not fighting like just soldiers. They were fighting like family. Every human in space thought of someone waiting for them back home. Every pilot carried a memory. Every engineer carried a promise. Every commander carried a responsibility. Fear could not break them. Pain could not stop them. Loss only made them fight harder. Humans fought with heart, and that made them unstoppable. The turning moment came when the Varkith dreadnought Gurkhan, the largest ship in their empire, engaged the human flagship Aegis Nova. The dreadnought was a monster black metal, mountains of armor, and weapons capable of tearing moons apart. The Varkith warlord stood proudly on its bridge. "This ends now," he growled. But Commander Elise Mora was calm. "Target the core veins," she ordered. "Prepare Helios Lance." The new human weapon activated with a deep hum. A beam of golden white light formed, growing brighter and brighter until it shook the entire ship. Fire. The Helios lance pierced the dreadnought like a spear through cloth. In seconds, the mighty Gurkhan cracked open, its armor melting, its energy collapsing. The Vark command bridge filled with alarms. The warlord stared at the screen in horror. This cannot be. But it was happening. His greatest ship, his pride, was burning. His empire was crumbling. And humanity was rising. Through the smoke and debris, a message broadcast across the battlefield. This is humanity. We do not start wars, but we finish them. Every species listening felt chills. Every Vark soldier felt their courage die. The humans advanced with final force. Missiles streaked. Fighters roared. Battleships crushed enemy formations with perfect timing. One by one, Vark ships exploded in brilliant flashes until the red fleet became nothing but drifting metal. Silence fell. For the first time in its long history, the Vark Empire suffered total defeat. The High Warlord dropped to his knees, challenged the wrong species, and the galaxy understood the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were not prey. Humans were not afraid. Humans were the fire that burned brighter every time someone tried to put it out. The war ended with one message, carried across the stars: never challenge humanity. They are the one species that grows stronger every time you hit them. HFY.